Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is Thursday, October 28th. 3 more days and October is officially over. We'll be heading to November, or we'll be in November. And for me, it's about getting ready to celebrate my daughter's birthday, which is November 7th. Then of course we have Thanksgiving. Then December, we have my other daughter's birthday. Then we have Christmas. And then in January, my birthday and my granddaughter's birthday. And we just celebrated this past Sunday, my son's birthday. So the last few months are really crazy, busy, hectic for us because it's birthdays and holidays back to back to back. Looking forward to it. So we'll see how it goes and you'll be along with me for the journey. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. As you can see from the title, I want to finish up the domestic violence. As you know, October is my ear is itching, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and many others. But I'm a domestic violence survivor, so I really want to make sure I always do at least a couple of videos to bring the awareness out, share my experience, even though I have videos up of my story and what happened, so you can always go back and check that out. But I try to every year honor and bring the awareness to domestic violence, but also bring in some new information, some statistics, anybody that's, has come into play on knowing that domestic violence, unfortunately, is still alive and still something that many people go through, and it really causes PTSD. Even though the years have gone by, I've been married with my second husband for 31 years. So it was way before that I suffered domestic violence, and I still remember it vividly. There's still scars that you're not, you like have your red flags, or you're like, it's just, it's something that, even though you're no longer in it and you're blessed to have survived it, there are still people in the battle, and there are people that lost the battle. And so we always want to honor them and remember them by bringing the awareness to the forefront, and sharing our stories, our experiences, statistics, whatever information or help that we can give. And so this is my second video I've done this year. There were years where I tried to do a video like almost every day about it, but it's so hard. So I just thought, okay, at least if I could do a couple of videos to honor domestic violence that month of October, then I feel like that's great. This is a work that I will continue to do for the rest of my life. Anything and everything I can do to help or honor somebody or whatever, I'm going to do that. And I'm always going to do a video or two on domestic violence. And so this is my second one. It's kind of my third one because I just did two. It was a part 1 and part 2. And it was actually honoring Gabby Petito. As we know, it's been a worldwide thing out there where Gabby Petito lost her life. Homicide. The cause of death was, of course, strangulation, so she was murdered. They believe that it was her fiance, Brian Laundrie, who was the last person to have been with her. They had an incident where police stopped them, and they could clearly see that domestic violence was a role in their relationship. And, you have the could-have, should-have, would-haves. If the police had, taken some different steps, maybe she'd be here today. And that's why we got to bring the awareness of domestic violence to law enforcement, how to handle it, how to see signs. I mean, there's so much signs out there. Now they have a sign that you do like this, and you kind of let the person know that you are a victim of domestic violence, and that, you need to be helped or saved. And so, but we need to get more training into law enforcement to see the signs, what questions to ask, what words to pick up on, what actually can we do as far as actions to prevent it or help someone in that situation if they come across them. We need to talk about it with our family and friends or neighbors. We need to go to, if there's any organizations that we can go to and speak, especially like somebody like me that I've been a survivor. I don't know of any organizations in my town, so I use my YouTube channel. I'm always talking about it with family and friends, and I wear purple several times in the month of October, because purple is the color to bring domestic violence awareness. And I always just try to use my YouTube channel to put the awareness out there and kind of keep it in the forefront, so We're updating on what's the latest things on domestic violence. Like I said, what training is out there, why people leave or stay, how difficult it is. You know, just remember people who are in the battle, who have lost the battle, and who have survived the battle. And just, you know, putting out there the statistics, any helplines or information that we can. If you know, if you yourself are going through it, if you know anybody that is going through it, and what you can do. I always talk about years ago on the Oprah show, there was this lady who was being, every time I do a video, there's a fly. I don't understand it. Who was so physically abused. And this man would have her children record him abusing her. It was really deep and profound. And even though the court had these recordings of what he was doing, which is beyond me that that wouldn't be the number one evidence, the number one, that's it, you're done. We got 100% proof of what you did and how disgusting that you involved your children. And no, it wasn't that that put her husband in jail. It was because her boss was documenting. Every time she came to work and the boss thought she saw a bruise or a red mark or a slap mark or a scratch or anything, the boss had a notebook and she was documented the date, the time, so-and-so came in. I noticed that she had these marks on her face, or that she had been crying, or that she looked scared, or she was upset, or her husband called her and she was shaking. Any physical visuals that she saw, she was documenting them, and the girl didn't even know. And it was because of the boss's documentation. You know, her husband, I could hear him yelling at her. She left this early this day. Just everything that was said or done, she was documented, date and time. That documentation, that notebook, is what put this man away. I believe he got 39 years. It wasn't the videos. Is that crazy or not? You would think the videos, you know, it's so disgusting that he had his children record him abusing their mom. It was just, and the kids weren't crying because they were afraid, and they were almost kind of like laughing, you know, to make him think that they were a part of it. And even, I think she had 2 sons and a daughter, and even the daughter, as she grew up and the husband went to, her father went to jail and stuff, she still took her dad's side. It's just horrific. But the blessed thing is that she survived. She was able to escape. She was able to survive. This man was put away for 39 years, and she goes out to all the different places. I mean, she goes on any show. She goes out to the different domestic violence shelters, organizations, everywhere, and she's made it her life goal to speak and help other people that are still in or was in her situation. You know, that's her life advocacy. So that's the same with me. You know, I tried to help people, you know, in any way I can. And so by doing these videos, I feel like that's my part of what I can do to bring it out there to the forefront and just bring the awareness and the help that so many people desperately need. So I have a few statistics here. It says 19% of domestic violence involves weapons. So it's just not slaps, kicks, and punches, even though that is a big portion of it. 19% of domestic violence involves weapons. Approximately 1 in 4 women experience domestic violence by an intimate partner. Every year, more than 10 million men and women in the United States are subject to domestic violence. And then it says domestic violence affects one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, significantly impact increased anxiety, one's mental stability, PTSD, and depression. So that is, I think it said South Africa had the highest of domestic violence. And this was the most recent statistic that I found on the computer. And so it's a really sad and scary thing to go through. I can't even explain it. I still know every date, every situation that I was in. My story is a long story, so please go back and look at it when I told my story before. Maybe I'll recap it on another video, you know, just giving the highlights of what happened to me. The only person that was had helped me or tried to help me was my mom, because she would see it without me even having to tell her or show it, because he would act up right in front of her. And he probably felt as a woman, as a mom, she would be weak, but she spoke up for me. And sometimes I was like, don't speak up for me because it's just going to get worse when I get home. And then I had a sister who, she even accused me of, how would you, leave your husband? He's such a good man. But because I didn't reveal what I was going through to her, she still should have supported me unconditionally. She still should have believed that I had a reason. There must be a reason why I left him. Looks are deceiving. People's personalities are deceiving. And in general, well, people thought he was a good person, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was evil and he was mean, and it was just, and he was abusive mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually, because we were in a church. And he would raise his hand and praise the Lord and speak the Bible and was abusing me. So I was abused in every way possible. Of course, the slaps, punches, all that stuff. And then you think, why don't you leave? It's not easy to leave in a domestic violence situation. Your life is threatened many, many times. And a lot of times, even your family's life is threatened. They'll be like, if you leave me, I'll kill your mother or your brother or your sister or your kids, and sometimes you'll sacrifice yourself so that your family isn't hurt or killed. And so I'll follow you. You'll never be able to get rid of me. They mentally get this control and convincing that if you even try to make a move to go out that door, it's going to be a wrap. So, and it's a lot more to that. Like I said, go back and check out my videos. But when people say you should have just left him, it's not that easy. It's not, I leave him and he's going to accept it and move on and we all move on and be happy. It doesn't. When I left, I've had a gun, pointed at me saying if I don't go back, that he was going to kill me and that maybe he should kill himself or maybe he should kill the both of us. That way I can't be with anybody else. That way he doesn't have to suffer or hurt, or that he just went through all these emotions and he followed me. I mean, almost was hitting me and making me have an accident by following me everywhere I go. It's just not easy. My family was threatened. It was like, you better not tell nobody. He kind of already knew because he acted up in front of my mother, but it was like, you better not tell your family. He never threatened to kill my family, but he was like, it's going to be bad for you and God knows what can happen to them, that kind of stuff, So it's not easy to leave. You have to really know that when you leave, you have help and you have a place to go. And sometimes you need to document, when they're not around, take pictures of yourself when you get hit, slapped, or kicked, or you've cried, or document. Now that we have cell phones, back in the day, we didn't have cell phones when that happened to me. You had to either call from your house phone or go to the nearest public phone booth. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have easy access to taking photos and videos. It was very difficult back then. Now we have cell phones, videos, signs, passwords, to say that we need help or we're in trouble or whatever, which is great that we have this. That's why I never down technology, because it has saved our lives. It has enriched our lives where we can capture memories and moments, and we could document our family just engagements and all kinds of stuff. So it's a blessing. It's also a blessing that it can save our life. A lot of the school mass shootings, a lot of people were saved because people reached out to other people through their cell phone. So the only time that technology isn't great is when you make it a priority and you don't put your family first. You're at a dinner table and you're on your cell phone. Or you're on your cell phone all day and you don't do things with your family or your kids or your wife, or you don't go to church, you don't try to stay spiritual. When it takes over you, then that's a bad thing. But other than that, technology is an amazing tool. It has saved so many lives, and it has enriched. If you make it a good, positive thing, it could be the best memory documentation that you can possibly have. So yeah, so I'm trying to say everything without the video being too long. Another thing I wanted to show is there's so many movies out there about domestic violence. I know there's one with Farrah Fawcett Majors called The Burning Bed. There's also one with, what's her name? McKeon is her last name. I'm going to look it up and tell you. And there's a few that I have. There's a few movies that are not about domestic violence, but they have some domestic violence in them. But these three movies that I'm about to show you that I have in my collection are directly about domestic violence. And so it would be good for you to see these. If this is a trigger in any way for you, please don't watch. Because I know, like with depression, there's a couple of movies that are triggers for me that I barely can survive them. And they're great movies, and I used to love them and can watch them. And whenever I'm going through depression, I can't. I literally get sick, and it's a trigger for me. And I just had an experience with that. So if this is a trigger for you anyway, please don't watch. But definitely try to get help, but try to be safe. Whatever you decide to do, try to be safe when you're doing it, but definitely try to get help. There is help out there. Try to find somebody you can confide in, a family member, a friend that can probably hold photos for you or video footage, whether it's on a cell phone or camera, or that can document for you. Like I said, the documentation of this lady's boss put her husband away for 39 years. Not the video of him actually abusing her in such a disgusting way. It was done. So maybe you can have your family member that you can totally confide in, document stuff for you, or can save. You can put on a USB, send it to your family and friend, footage or pictures or videos of your abuse, slaps, kicks, all that stuff, or him talking, you know, abuse to you or whatever, or violently to you, whatever you can document and save as evidence, the more the better, but always being safe and being very careful. But yeah, there is help out there, so please try to reach out. A lot of those domestic violence hotlines are completely anonymous. There's no way to go back to them or something to that effect. So yeah, so I want to share with you three movies that are completely domestic violent movies, and have been my favorites as far as anybody who's never experienced domestic violence or just knows somebody that's going through it but wants to know more about what goes through an abuser's mind, what are the kind of things that they say and do, how they can take you over emotionally, mentally, physically, and even spiritually at times. Ways that these women escape. Now, of course, these are Hollywood movies. So, but still, they're still things that you can do in real life. They're just ideas on what they went through and what they did to survive it and to escape, or what things come up that it's like, you know, you usually talk about restraining orders. Well, there, in one of these movies, she goes, so what do you do when you get the restraining? You just throw it in his face and slap him with it? What does that do? So, and I don't know if it's still the same, but unless you are willing to, what I want to say, willing to speak up and say, yeah, he's abused me, they really can't arrest a person. If there's no physical evidence of you being abused at the time, they can't really arrest a person. So to get a person to, a lot of them don't respect restraining orders. They don't care about being caught or going to jail. They just want to hurt you. They want to get back at you. So sometimes, you know, even though restraining is good and it's supposed to help in a really domestic violence situation, that doesn't mean nothing to them. But something is better than nothing, but just be aware that that doesn't mean anything to them. So, and you pretty much have to leave your surroundings. You can't stay in that home and don't think he's going to come through a window or door or she or whatever. You know, you have to find a safe place, a place that he doesn't know. That's why if you're in a domestic violence situation, or even before you ever get into one, always try to have some emergency money saved up. Try to have a copy in case take away your passport and try to hide it from you so you can't escape. Make a copy of it, copy of your identification documents, birth certificates, ID, marriage license, what have you. Try to get copies of those and keep them in a safe spot away from your home. Like keep it with that family and friend that you trust. Hey, keep these for me. That way if he's like, where's the birth certificates? Where's this? You can still have those, but now you're confident has the copies of those in case you have to escape or travel. Emergency money, emergency bag that will have like an extra pair of clothing, so a watch, some emergency stuff that when you have to suddenly leave, you can survive with clothing or, you know, a laptop or an extra cell phone, a burner, whatever kind of, but there's a cell phone that you can use so you don't take yours and they can follow you or find you, just stuff like that. Maybe I'll do a video on that stuff. How do you set up a bag when you're in a domestic violence situation and you might need or want to escape? Of course you want to escape, but you might need to escape. What are the things that you can put in that bag that will help you, because you need to find a shelter or a safe place that you can go to that your partner does not know, never knew about this city or this house or this place or this specific friend, where he wouldn't even find you. So you don't want to tell your partner everything. If you even have an instinct or a red flag or anything like that, start preparing that emergency bag. Start preparing copies of all documentation. Start saving photos and videos and stuff like that with the confident. And so when you escape, you could just leave with the clothes on your back and run out of the door. Stuff like that. So yeah. So anyway, because I'm already at 28 minutes. So like I said, there's many more movies. There's one with, I think Nancy McKeon is her name. She used to be on The Facts of Life. She did a really... Okay, so I'm going to show you the top 3 movies that I have in my collection that directly and completely deal with domestic violence. I have other movies that have some domestic violence in it, but it's not about domestic violence. It just have parts in there. But I wanted to show you movies that are directly about domestic violence. Why see these movies? Because if you're like me, that I'm a survivor, it helps me, not that I want to remember what I went through because it was so scary and so hurtful, but I want to help other people that are in the battle or that have survived the battle and have PTSD and other stuff, or that are still scared. The more we remember and know, how did we survive it? What are some of the things that we said and did or documented or whatever? What helped us to be able to be survivors, or that while we're in the situation? So I don't remember because I want to go through the motions of being scared and sad again, because of course I have that, but I have decided to help other people in the domestic violence situation. So we always have to be like in tune as to, oh yeah, that's exactly what I went through. Or wow, if I would have had that, maybe I could have got out a little bit faster. Or that's a great idea. So even though these are Hollywood movies, they still have a perfect portrayal of what domestic violence is. And that's why they're my top favorite. So, and I recommend these to anybody who think their relationship might be hitting somewhere there, and they just want to get more awareness of what it's all about and what they can do if that, God forbid, should happen. Or if you know a family member, a friend who's going through it, but you don't know much about domestic violence because you never went through it yourself, but you want to help. These are movies to see where you can see exactly what they go through emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And what are some of the ideas that they use to escape or survive it. So these are why these are my top favorite. There's also many others. There's The Burning Bed with Farrah Fawcett Majors. I happen not to have the movie, but I know you can find it on Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Pluto, Tubi, all of those TV apps you can find. I'm sure you can find it on there. I think I just saw it the other day as I was going. I think it was on either Prime Video or Peacock. I saw The Burning Bed. I haven't seen it in years. I saw it like twice and I haven't seen it in years, but amazing video on what domestic violence is about. Hers was to the extreme. So yeah, I would definitely recommend there. There's that one. There's another one by Nancy McKeon. I think that's her name. She was the actress on The Facts of Life. I don't know if you guys remember The Facts of Life, but she went on to do great movies, and she does one about an extreme domestic violence situation. I think it was based on a true story. I don't know the name of it, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to put in the description bar. God, please help. Because sometimes I want to put in the description bar and I forget. So I'm sorry. If I forget, I'll put it in the comments, but I'm really going to try to put in the description bar. And there are many others. So, but these are the top that I have in my collection, and I watch them. Every now and then I'll watch them. We just watched Sleeping with the Enemy with my friend because she had never seen it. And she's not going through any domestic violence. She's not in a relationship. But we told her so much about this movie. And so she wanted to see it. And so we did. And so yeah, so let me show you the 3 movies that I consider the best for domestic violence. So this one is Safe Haven with Julianne Hough, who was a professional dancer in Dancing with the Stars. Josh Duhamel, who I believe was married to Fergie. Great actors. Great movie about domestic violence and what she went through and how she did her escape. So let me read it to you to kind of give you an idea, because I don't want to tell you the whole movie. It says, Josh Duhamel and Julianne Hough star in this spellbinding romantic drama based on the novel by best-selling author Nicholas Spark, who did The Notebook. When a mysterious, beautiful woman named Katie, which is Huff, moves to Southport, North Carolina, she sparks the interest of the locals, especially Alex, who's Duhamel, a handsome widower. Although she is attracted to Alex, Katie's reluctant to trust him, that is, until new friend Kobe Smulders convinces her to give Alex a chance. But before long, a dark secret from Katie's past threatens her happiness in this thrilling romance directed by Lace Hallstrom. So her past is her husband being an abuser and her being in a domestic violence, a really bad domestic violence situation, and him being the police. He's a police officer, so he's able to get away with a lot. So this is a good spin on domestic violence, because you never think somebody in law enforcement would do it, but you could have any career and be a physical abuser. So, and how hard it could be because they have connections and they have a lot of control because they are law enforcement. So this is a good option on domestic violence when it comes to the abuser being in law enforcement. People, thinking, wow, he's a police officer, he's a good man. So this is a good one for that. The second one that I like is Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts, an amazing actress. I love her. I have all her movies. Everything she touches turns to gold, of course. So she's in this movie. I think this was in 1991. And so it says, this tense and terrifying romantic thriller delivers screamy aplenty, variety, and a cocker of a climax. Rolling Stone. Julia Roberts stars as Laura, a young woman who thinks she's found the man of her dreams, and Martin, who is played by Patrick Bergin. But after they are married, Laura discovers the real Martin, compulsive, controlling, and dangerously violent. She escapes by faking her own death and relocating to a small Midwestern town. But even with the new identity, Laura lives in fear, stalked by the memory of Martin's brutality, a memory that comes to life with a vengeance when he discovers that she's still alive. So amazing, amazing movie. Like I said, it tells you what domestic violence is about, mentally, physically, emotionally, again, and how she did her escape. Now, again, sadly, not everybody survives, so we still got to honor those. But she's the one that I said has the emergency bag. Like I said, back in my day, I didn't have the technology, cell phones. You either had to call from your home, which at that time he cut the cord. There was a public phone booth that I couldn't get to because he slammed the door. In my situation, we didn't have any cell phone where you could quickly take photos and videos and document your situation or prove your situation. We could have documented, but we didn't know if that was even an idea until I saw that lady on Oprah Winfrey, where her boss's documentation is what put her husband away for 39 years, and not the disgusting, vivid videos of him abusing her and using her children to record. It was the documentation. It's so ironic how this life is. It's not fair. It's not right. But thank God something put him away. So yeah. So I always say, have an emergency, have a confidant that you can trust, whether it's a family or friend that you can completely trust and that can save, like I said, any USB with photos or videos, or you can send them to them where they can keep them in a file. Copies of all your identification documents, birth certificates, baptism certificate, marriage certificate, passports, IDs, social security numbers, you name it. That can keep those copies for you so that you have your originals with you, but you have those copies that they can document at this time, this date. This is what I witnessed. This is what I saw. This is what she said to me, stuff like that. So now we have much more advantage. We have hand signs that they have now, like this one, to let somebody know that you're a victim, that you need help, that you're not safe, that something's happening to you, especially when it comes to domestic violence. We have the pizza call where you can call the police and act like you're ordering pizza. And so now pretty much 911 and law enforcement should know about the pizza call, because they've had pizza like, I want to order a medium pizza. I'm like, ma'am, you know you called the police department? Yes. I would like pepperoni on that. So look into that. It's called, I think it's called the pizza call. So there's so many advantages and opportunities because of the technologies. I wish I would have had that back in the day, but I'm just so grateful and blessed that I was able to survive without all of that. But now we have that. So if ever we're in a safe situation and that we're careful and we can use those, please do so. Like I said, the helplines are out there. Everything remains anonymous. So yeah, all that good stuff. So yeah, so she's the one. And I always say have the emergency bag where you have some money save so you can travel or buy something that can help you get to where you need to go. Have a safe place to go to that your partner or the one who's abusing you has never heard about, never knew about, that you can go to and be safe knowing that they can't find you because they don't know anything about this place, whether it's a shelter or a family or friend's place or city. That don't say everything, because you never know. I mean, I'm blessed to be in a happy, healthy marriage for 31 years, but it wasn't always like that. So you just have to remember to keep a few things sacred, especially if you have any intuition or red flags that could lead to something like that. So yeah, you want to have an emergency bag where you have some money for emergencies. You have copies of those documents or extra clothing or communication devices like an extra cell phone that they don't know anything about, you know, stuff like that. So maybe I'll do a video on what you should pack in an emergency bag if you're in a domestic violence situation. So yeah, so this is another great movie to see. The third one is Enough by Jennifer Lopez. Love Jennifer Lopez. I love all her movies. She's a great actress. This is really a good one to see as well. Let me read it to you. Working class waitress Slim, which is Jennifer Lopez, the wedding planner, thought she was entering a life of domestic bliss when she married Mitch, who's played by Billy Campbell, TV's Once and Again, the man of her dreams. After the arrival of their first child, her picture-perfect life is shattered when she discovers Mitch's hidden, possessive dark side, a controlling and abusive alter ego that can turn trust, love, and tranquility into terror. Terrified for her child's safety, Slim flees with her daughter, relentlessly in her pursuit, and enlisting the aid of lethal henchman Mitch continually stalks the prey that was once his family. Finally, Slim is forced to fight back, engaging Mitch in a physical and psychological battle, showing him that she's had enough. So this is a great movie also on domestic violence. And it says everyone has a limit. That is so true. The thriller of the year. God, I got this back when a video store was closing, because, you know, now we have Netflix, Hulu, Redbox, all this stuff. So a lot of video places closed down. So I got it for this amount. You can find all of these on Amazon, eBay, what have you, sometimes in the stores, Walmart, what have you. You can find them. They shouldn't be expensive at all. So if you want to have them in your collection to revisit and watch them whenever you want, that's a great idea. I highly recommend that. Or if you know somebody who's going through it, you can share that, watch that movie with them and share it. And that's another way you can reach out and help. So these are my favorite three. But like I said, there's the Bernie Bed with Farrah Fawcett Majors, the Nancy McKeon. I'm going to find out the name of it, put in the description bar. There are probably so many others. Whatever I find, I will put in the description bar. But yeah, so I'm helping the statistics that I gave you and kind of little bits and pieces of my experience and what we have offered, what we have available to us now to try to save us and help us and escape. And then watching these movies to just get the get more awareness to yourself or to whoever you feel can, you know, be in need of this. Is always a great thing. So yeah, I'm also always going to include helplines, which is completely anonymous and confidential, on my description bar. I may do another video on domestic violence before the end of this month. If not, I have plenty of videos that I've done every year in October, because like I said, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I got to do one or two breast cancer. I hope I can get to it. So I hope this has been helpful and beneficial to you or someone you might know going through domestic violence. Domestic violence colors purple. So if you want to also show your support and for the domestic violence awareness, you can wear purple, whether it's a headband, hair, purple accessories, purple clothing. That would be great. I got this one. It's for mental health awareness, and see their colors teal, so you could get even bands that are in purple that are for domestic violence. Paint your nails purple, put your makeup on purple. So anything you could do to show your support. And if someone says, God, you got all that purple on, it's a way to open conversation about it. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, because that's the only way you get heads up on every time I upload a video. So until my next video, stay safe, be blessed, take care.